Welcome back to SportsCenter, back to the NBA as promised, and Johnny Most is now a voice from the past. The legendary play-by-play man and color commentator for the Boston Celtics died Sunday of cardiac arrest. He was 69. Most, who broadcast Celtic games from the mid-50s until 1990, had battled numerous health problems recently, including having his legs amputated. During the past year, Most spent a good portion of his time writing poetry. When ESPN visited him 3 months ago, he recited his favorite one, a poem he wrote during World War II.
I stood among the graves today and swept the scene with sight, and the core of men who lay beneath looked up to say goodnight. The thunder still, the battle done, the fray has passed them by, and as they rest forevermore, they must be asking why.
Please join us now for a moment of silence to honor the memory of Johnny Most.
Greer's putting the ball in play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over the Stan Jones. Havlicek stole the ball.
1965, that legendary call. Chris Ford and the Celts trying to win one for Johnny tonight against the Clippers. The Clippers, though, looking strong early. Gary Grant, and it counts. Mark Jackson, the no-look to Kenny Norman. Norman had a big night, 16 points. Larry Brown excited. He's got a 7-point halftime lead. Ala Abdul Nabi. Ala with the kiss, and it counts. He had 21 points, 17 in the third quarter, and a 3. The X-Man, the length of the floor, trying to beat the buzzer. Yes. Celtics by 6, and the X-Man was pumped. Then in the fourth, the Chief gets the D. Brown miss and brings it back. Boston wins it. Joe got a good kick out of this one. They win it 120-112, obviously on a very emotional night. As they lose, Johnny Most, the X-Man, 24 points, 10 rebounds. The Celtics snap a 4-game slide. They've won 13 of their last 14 meetings at the Garden.
Play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over the Stan Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed for the fans. Johnny Havlicek. And now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ. Almost leveled Zeesting with an elbow, and they don't call it. And now they're fighting. There's the fight going on right now. Sampson started the whole damn thing. He hit Zeesting with an elbow right in the head. Now to Bird. And there is a violent knockdown by Lambert, and Bird just smacked him. Oh, the yellow, gutless way they do things here. They have been called a dirty ball club, and I can see why.
Once again, everybody, this is Johnny Most, high above courtside.
From his favorite perch, and with a gravel voice delivery which could border on delirium, Johnny Most broadcast Celtics basketball games for the better part of 37 years.
And I always say, if you're naturally emotional, be emotional. Don't be afraid. Don't hold it back.
Back over to Worthy, and it's picked off. Goes to Henderson, he lays it off, and it's all tied up. Goes into the lane, jump pass back out to DJ. DJ throws up, it's gone! It's gone, and no time left! It's all over! It is all over!
Unashamedly partisan in his approach, Most's voice reached what was described as dog whistle pitch during especially frantic moments. And 16 World Championship Celtics teams provided Johnny with many moments. For Most, basketball was an art form, and the players artists. Johnny revered them for their artistry.
They were so slick, so silky, so smooth, so imaginative, that I began to think of basketball as the ballet of the sports world.
And now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up, 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
Most was born in the Bronx, the son of a dentist. His mother was a Russian immigrant. He was raised on sports, but on his way to a career in broadcasting, Most flew 28 missions over Europe in World War II, for which he was decorated with the Purple Heart and the Distinguished Flying Cross, among other honors. There was more to Johnny Most than met the ear.
But I like to describe myself as a sensitive human being who is a humanitarian. Basically, I'm a poet. I write poetry, and that is my true love.
But starting in 1953, the Boston Celtics would be a constant and ardent suitor. Listening to his broadcasts, it was always easy to tell the two teams apart. The good guys wore white hats. The bad guys wore black hats. The Celtics were the good guys.
There's the fight going on right now. Sampson started the whole damn thing. He hit Stacey with an elbow right in the head. Oh, Ralph Sampson showed his true colors. He is a gutless big guy who picks on the little people.
Bill Laimbeer.
A guy who has, I once described him as a man who has a penchant for violence.
There is a violent knockdown by Laimbeer, and Burr just smacked him. Oh, my. Oh, the yellow, gutless way they do things here.
The last few seasons of his life were frustrating for Most, the broadcaster. But his most famous call of all will live forever in Celtics history.
Just putting the ball in play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over the stand, Joe. Havlicek stole the ball.
John and I have gone around the country saying that we made each other famous. I have a feeling that he would have been famous anyhow.
In October of 1990, his attempts at a return to the broadcast booth having failed, Johnny Most announced his retirement.
Although it's been a bumpy road, and it's finally coming to an end. And like I say, I'll always be a Celtic. This is not goodbye. This is Auf Wiedersehen. Thank you.
New England has lost one of its treasures with the passing of Johnny Most. Broadcaster, Celtics fan, poet.
With the passage of time, the pretty flower wilts and the green grass is yellowed. But the beauty within me matures and grows with the passage of time.
He walks through the lane, coming to the right, and he gets the pass. Goes into the lane, jump pass back out to DJ. DJ throws up, it's gone! It's gone, and no time left! It's all over! It is all over! And it's good by DJ from the left side! It's all over! Boston wins the all-important fourth game! Ainge comes down, takes another three, it's gone! Another one! Danny Ainge has just cut the lead to 4.
Last Thursday night, over 500 people gathered to pay tribute to the voice of the Boston Celtics. For over 36 years, Johnny Most has been known as the broadcaster of the Celtics. But to the fans of the Men in Green, he was much more.
Johnny Most is, to me, bigger than all the players in this town, including Larry Bird and Roger Clemens. He'll outlast them all. He won't try to break his contract. He won't try to ask for too much money. I think the guy is fantastic.
Many of Johnny's closest friends came to toast and roast him in tribute to his longevity and loyalty.
Johnny he used the Celtics like Arthur Fiedler was the Pups. You know, it's not just someone who worked for them, but someone who actually was them, whether it was Russell or Cousy or Havlicek or Collins or Bird. All the generations came and went, and Johnny was still there.
In this particular game, we're playing against the St. Louis Hawks, the championship game, and one of our guest speakers here, Jim Lesketoff, was injured and wasn't able to play in this particular game, and Lou Chiropoulos, who had been a backup player, was now assigned to defend against the great Hall of Fame player Bob Pettit. And it was a key game, and we were really, we wanted to win this championship, and Lou Chiropoulos is out there. And here's how Johnny Most broadcast went. I can't believe it. We're in a third quarter here, the beginning stages of the third quarter, and Lou Chiropoulos is doing a fantastic defensive job on Bob Pettit. I mean, he's in his shirt, he's in his sneakers, he's in his underwear. There isn't any place that Pettit goes that Chiropoulos isn't right there with him. It's unbelievable. Here we are, 2 minutes into the third quarter, and Pettit's only got 32 points.
I just can't think of the Celtics and not think about Johnny Most. I mean, when you think of the Celtics, you may see Red Auerbach and Bill Russell and Bob Cousy and Lesketoff and Heinsohn and Bird, Robert Parrish, but you hear Johnny Most. And I think his voice is the most distinguishable element in the Celtics. It's as easily as important as the Leprechaun.
He was great, though, because he will defend you. When you're having the worst game of your life, which we've all had, and you're throwing the ball right to the other guy, he's going, oh, great defensive play. Christ, I'm telling you. This guy's stepping into passing lanes. You know, you're dribbling off your foot. You're missing layups. You're missing a layup, and Johnny goes, oh, Christ, he was triple team. Hell of an effort, you know. And you got to love it, because I tell you, no matter how bad you played, you people who didn't have televisions never knew how bad we played.
And growing up in Lynn, I did not have the opportunity with a lot of money to attend a lot of Celtics basketball games. My eyes and ears for Celtics basketball was Johnny Most. I'm probably here today because of Johnny Most. Howie Carr, don't get excited. This is not a hack job. But I'm here because I grew up as a kid with a transistor radio underneath my pillow at night, despite the fact that my parents wanted me to go to bed at night. Even on the West Coast games, I would have this little transistor radio underneath the pillow, and I would listen to this guy tell me about this great basketball team that passed, that ran, that wore the green and white. And I fell in love with that basketball team, and I fell in love with it to the voice of Johnny Most. And all I can say is, we love you, John. I thoroughly enjoyed the 9 years that we worked together. People have asked me many times in the last month, well, how do you replace Johnny Most? You don't.
The years I played, I didn't listen to him that much because, you know, naturally we were playing. But after my retirement from the Celtics, I listened to him, and I was amazed at what he contributed to the game and what he actually built into the area of Boston or New England in regards to the whole concept of the game of basketball.
We'd be on the planes, in the back of the plane, and he'd be sitting there, and he'd light up a cigarette, take one drag, and then he'd fall asleep. And he'd have that cigarette holding right here, you know, and we'd be back there saying, it's going to burn him this time, watch it, it's going to burn him, you know. And, you know, it's getting down there, and the ash is about that long, and it's getting ready to fall off, and this is it, it's going to burn his hand, you know. And we're all back there looking at him, and this is a wild animal, and right before it burned, he'd wake up, take that last drag, and put it out. And he never burnt himself, ever.
And if all you ever got to know was Johnny Most, the broadcaster, you missed an awful lot. Johnny Most, the man behind the microphone, behind the image, a delightful guy, and I love him very much.
Then he took his cigarettes out of his pocket and put one of those cigarette loads in the cigarette. And so he, Johnny, we're watching him, and he right away, as soon as he got off the airplane, boy, he'd light up a cigarette. Geez, it didn't bang. Must not have been it. And so we're all following Johnny around the airport. And we get outside, and sure enough, we all run on the bus real quick. And Johnny always had that last cigarette before he came on the bus, because as players, we said, Johnny, don't smoke on the bus, until we saw that it's done him so well. Now we all smoke on the bus. But anyways, he was standing outside by the luggage, and sure enough, we get the cigarette out, and we're all jammed up against the windows on the bus. Right? We're all looking out there like we're looking at a zoo, you know. And pretty soon, Johnny lights it up and takes that big drag, and he puts it down by his side, and bang! He doesn't even move. He sits there, and we're going, he didn't hear it. Nah, he didn't hear it. He lifted that cigarette up, and that cigarette was shredded to beat hell, and he looked at it and went, threw that thing out. Boy, went right back for another one. It didn't even faze him.
This is not farewell. This is not goodbye. This is more like Auf Wiedersehen. And in closing, I would like to quote a poem of my own. With the passage of time, pretty flower wilts, and the green, green grass is yellowed. But the beauty within me matures and grows with the passage of time. Thank you.
He gets it out. People Havlicek steals it. Over the San Joe. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. Johnny Havlicek stole the ball.
Johnny led a pretty full life. He did a lot of things. We had a lot of fun together, and he really was a lot of fun to be around, and especially in his younger years. You know, we used to have a lot of fun with him on the road.
No matter who we were playing, they was always the worst type of enemy that you could ever face, according to Johnny. And the Celtics was always undermanned, you know, and never had a chance. That's one thing about Johnny, you know, he always painted the Celtics to be the real nice guys. We the one doing all the damage most nights.
Well, this was not a big pro basketball area, and I think Johnny spread the word about the Celtics, about their unity, about team play. And I think he had a very big impact, in many ways, every bit as much as any player that ever wore a uniform.
He's just a fascinating guy. I mean, with him goes tremendous stories, great history. There'll never be another Johnny Most.
The two of us made each other famous with one play, I guess.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out. Deep and Havlicek steals it. Over the San Joe. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. Johnny Havlicek.
Hi there once again, everybody. This is Johnny Most, high above courtside here at the Boston Garden where the Boston Celtics...
For 37 years, that unique and raspy voice passionately portrayed the exploits of his beloved Celtics. Armed with only his microphone, Johnny Most was the embodiment of Celtic pride.
I feel in green. I bleed green. Well, that's what started that whole style.
While the players on the parquet changed, Johnny's style and voice remained a constant for all 16 world championships.
It's all over.
Sweet 16 is in the bag. It's money in the bag. The Boston Celtics are the world champions for the 16th time. And they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are.
Yeah, it's the good guys and the bad guys. It'll always be that way as far as I'm concerned. And if you try to beat us, you're committing a felony.
He hit Seesing, and he hit him hard, and Seesing objected to it. Sampson said, I'm wrong, Sampson. I have a right to hit you. I have a right to break your head. Violent knocked down by Lambert, and Bird just smacked him. Oh, my. Oh, the yellow, gutless way they do things here. They have been called a dirty ball club, and I can see why.
Walter Brown and Red Auerbach hired Johnny Most in 1952, and from the beginning, Johnny regarded the organization and its fans as his family.
Three ingredients are loyalty, friendship, and love. And it's loyalty and friendship that Walter Brown and Red Auerbach taught me, and the love I learned to have for the city of Boston and the fans.
In December of 1990, the Celtics retired Johnny's microphone high above courtside in an emotional Garden tribute.
In parting, I would like to say that I'll never forget you, and I hope you will never forget me.
And now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left. Oh my, this place is going crazy.
Well, Havlicek stole the ball is the most flamboyant call of all time, perhaps. They had to scrape me off the ceiling on that one.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over the San Joe. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. Johnny Havlicek.
later years may have been clouded by poor health, Johnny always brought sunshine into people's lives. And that is how he wished to be remembered.
I want them to think of me as a humanitarian and as a poet and as a guy who loved kids, guy who loved people who did not have a break in life.
The voice is now silent, but the legacy forever will endure.
Ball game. Tom Hanks at the line. South to the ball. Is he going to make it? He does. 112 to 107, and the Celtics are on the verge of their consecutive world championship.
On the right now, quickly it goes. And Sampson levels, almost levels Zeesting with an elbow, and they don't call it. And now they're fighting. There's the fight going on right now. Sampson started the whole damn thing. He hit Zeesting with an elbow right in the head. And Zeesting objected to it, and big Ralph Sampson, the big brave bull.
1 second left. And Cousy got the ball. He goes to trail to the air. And there they go. They won the year. In 6 days, the Boston Celtics win the world title. For the 5th consecutive time, for the 6th time in the last 7 years. They have done it again.
Dishes off now to Bird. And there is a violent knockdown by Lambert. And Bird just smacked him. Oh, the yellow, gutless way they do things here. They have been called a dirty ball club, and I can see why. McHale has 54 points, which ties John Havlicek for the all-time Celtic scoring record of one game. All right, he gets the pass from Bird. Triple D, back over to Bird, back into McHale. Baseline jumper, and he got fouled. And he has a chance to break it now. And the shot is good. That breaks the record. And now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left. Oh my, this place is going crazy.
The face may not be familiar to everyone, but once he opens his mouth, millions of people across New England know that there's a Celtics game tonight, and the enemy had better be prepared for a monstrous battle.
The horn, who fouls everybody in sight. I can beat the heck out of you. Don't you dare touch me.
The one thing I have learned from Johnny is you better be entertaining. If you're not entertaining, if the audience is not enjoying some of the faux pas that you're pulling on the air, you're not going to have a long career. And I think that's one thing he taught me. It's got to be fun.
Now quickly over to Ainge. Ainge being guarded by Jackson. Ainge shoots. It's gone! A three-pointer, and that ties it up! It's all tied up! DJ is driving. Stop. Clears. Throws it up, and it's no good. It is tipped up by Darren Day! And it's over! Darren Day at Tippin at the buzzer!
Greer putting the ball in play. He gets it out. He's going to have a check steals it. Over the grand goal. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Gary Havlicek is being mobbed for the fans. Gary Havlicek.
John and I like to go around town telling everybody that we made each other famous.
I think it's terrific that he is a homer. I think it's terrific. I love his act. We'll never see it again. And how many people have been imitated as many times as Johnny Most?
Right, DJ looking around cross court, Danny trigger dribbles right. All right, in the Bird walks through the lane, looks around. Yes! A 3-point field goal for Larry Bird.
Earl Strong comes over to call the foul, and Jake waved it off from 30 feet away. Jake O'Donnell waved that foul off. There's no time left on the clock. The game is over. It's absolute bedlam. The Philadelphia fans have screamed out onto the court. They have lifted Jake to their shoulders. He's smiling and waving to the crowd, and they're stuffing money into his pockets.
That
Johnny. This is Johnny Most.
All right. I'll tell you, it's been a war out here. They've been smacking, they've been grabbing. I've been in line for cigarettes for half an hour.
Hey, babe, I'm a survivor. And that is no BS. I mean, hey.
Bobby Orr. Football, Steve Nelson. Baseball's Johnny Pesky, Dick Raditz. Fenway announcer Sherm Feller. And, of course, the Boston Celtics, present and past.
Johnny, he was definitely a genuine kind of guy. You know, I admired him because of the way he did things, and you knew what side Johnny was on.
He loved you guys. He loved the Celtics.
Yeah, Johnny was, for me, it was a 13-year loving with Johnny, sure. You know, clearly, whenever you had to be up and around, even if you could find conversations with Johnny at any time, he was always there for you and always had stories to tell about the Celtics. And, hey, as far as he was concerned, the Celtics was certainly his life.
The speakers were eloquent, the words poetic, spoken in tribute to a man who considered poetry his first love. We were reminded that it was Johnny Most, with his basketball as morality play approach, who gave us all permission to take the game seriously. Former Red Sox announcer Ken Coleman.
While people called him a homer, which he was a superb and accurate play-by-play man who could take us right into the game.
Life's cruel. And the final thing it takes away is your dignity. And that's not so. Not in Johnny's case. It's not so.
John Most's game is over now. But it can be said that the man who helped create Celtic pride in all of us has played the full 48 minutes with all he had. And right now, he's once again high above courtside and ready to do battle.
And finally, oldest son Jamie, who read a tribute his dad had written to his own father at his passing 5 years ago.
And later that day, I heard that my father had said to a friend, quote, "If my kids feel about me the way I feel about him, my life will have been a success." Well, my father's life was a success.
Johnny Most was remembered today as a man of compassion and loyalty, a man unafraid to wear his heart on his sleeve. Most, the poet, knew that on the inside, everyone is beautiful.
Let me just share one of his poems. Talked about inner beauty. It's called The Passage of Time. With the passage of time, the pretty flower wilts, and the green grass is yellowed.
And the green grass is yellowed. But the beauty within me matures and grows with the passage of time.
Indeed, a moving tribute by our own Scott Wally on a man who moved many lives over the 37 years that he broadcast here in the Boston Garden. Well, of all the highlights and the reaction from tonight's game with the Celtics and the Pacers on Channel 4's Nightcast at 11 o'clock, Mike and Tommy will be back with second half action after these messages. I'm Bob Lobel.